I'm Jen Schrader, and this is Behind the Springs, conversations with the people working for you in Colorado Springs, Olympic City, USA. A new era begins on July 13th, which is the date of the grand reopening of the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum. So we've got a major building restoration project that is now complete. And in addition to upgrading the HVAC system, the project also is resulting in new and improved exhibit spaces. So that will add a lot to the visitor experience. The museum, if you don't know, is one of our largest and, of course, most visible treasures downtown. And most people don't realize that it's part of the city of Colorado Springs. It's part of our cultural services division, which is a section of our parks department. So we're so proud of that. And I have Matt Mayberry, who leads that division and serves as the director of the museum. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And then Leah Davis-Witherow is the curator of history at the museum. So both of you are leading this crazy big project and this large charge to make big changes at the museum. So thanks for being here during this milestone. I appreciate it because you're a little busy. So Matt, let me start by asking you to talk sort of about the need for this restoration project. A lot of that was in the news. We talked a lot about it, but it's been a few months. So if you can take people back to why did we need this in the first place, a little bit of how it's funded and just the purpose.
Well, I'm going to take you back even further if I can.
Yes.
For people who don't know, the museum is housed in the 1903 El Paso County Courthouse. It was used for 70 years for that purpose, and then, fortunately, saved from demolition and given to the city for the museum's use.
Always crazy to think that it was going to be demolished.
Yeah.
Always just gives me pause.
It was close.
It was really close, yes.
And because it's a 1903 building, it was not designed, not only was it not designed to serve as a museum, it was not even designed to have the kind of modern HVAC equipment that everybody expects these days. And so what we are doing is adapting a historic building to really serve the needs of the museum. The first line of defense that we can do to preserve our collection is providing a stable climate. So constant temperature, constant humidity. So really the purpose of this project is to help us preserve our collection that allows us to then engage the public. And so what we are doing is replacing a system that was put in the building in the 1970s, but that was never fully installed and is now 50 years old and failing.
Right.
And so we were in the position where we were closing galleries because leaks were happening throughout the building that didn't allow us to put collections in there or really have the public in those spaces. So it was beyond time.
It was a little dire.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I was over there with you with seeing the buckets and the dripping and the, kind of what you would think of as, oh my goodness, we don't have a choice anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's been a problem for decades, and it really became a crisis. So we were fortunate to get support from City Council, support from the administration, to provide funding for the HVAC system. Nobody really wants to fund an HVAC system.
It's like kind of like buying new tires.
You can't write a grant.
Yeah.
Or it's hard to write a grant.
Can't
right.
see it.
You can't see it. Right.
Yeah, and it's all behind the scenes. And so we did get a lot of support from the city's capital improvement program, and we're very grateful for that. But we needed to raise additional funds. And so we brought additional support to the table for that project. But we decided that if we do this HVAC project right, nobody's going to know the difference. It's all behind the scenes. It's transparent to the public. And we wanted to use this opportunity, since we're going to be disrupting museum operations and there's going to be all the dust in the air, that we wanted to extend the scope of the project to add and improve exhibit space. And so we made improved lighting for one of our existing galleries, and we took a portion of the building that the public's never had a chance to see, that really is untouched since we took ownership of it in the 1970s, and improved that both for exhibit space and for public engagement activities. What that means is a collections work area, a workshop, where the public can actually watch museum professionals, our interns, our volunteers, doing the work of museums so that they can
like
see,
preparing those artifacts.
you can
I
see
see.
the accession work, the photography, the process of laying out things for exhibit. People love seeing behind the scenes. It feels like special access. And so we have that new gallery, the Division III courtroom will be a new space that Leah can talk about. And then we'll have this workspace. And so it's about 4,000 square feet of new public access area that we're really excited about. And it came together very quickly. We had to raise a lot of money for it, over $1.5 million to
So
make
a
this.
lot of donors to
And
thank.
That's a lot of donors, a lot of our existing supporters, El Pomar Foundation, Light Hill Philanthropies, State Historic Fund, and it goes on and on. And so we are very grateful to the public for their support of this vision that we had. And I think both Leah and I kind of pinch ourselves because we can hardly believe it's really happening.
Right.
Or really happened.
Right. And for you as curator,
Yes.
I mean, I know you're leading these exhibits and it's got to it had to have been so exciting for you to say, oh, good, we're going to do the exhibit part of this and not just the HVAC.
Absolutely. As Matt said, people can't see the HVAC, but they certainly will feel it.
We will all benefit
when
from
they're
it.
in the
Yes,
building.
yes.
And the HVAC system improves the lifespan of the artifacts, but it also makes it more comfortable for our visitors. So we think people are going to enjoy being inside our building. We keep talking about it's a cool place to see history.
Right.
It literally and figuratively is. So having this opportunity to expand exhibits, our community continues to grow, and we're just getting started in terms of telling the history. There are always more stories, there are always more people to include, new topics, new artifacts. We cannot have all of our artifacts on exhibit at any one time because our building stays the same size and our collections continue to grow. So having 4,000 square feet of additional space is like a dream. And so what do we do with it? We are bringing artifacts out of storage. We are creating new gallery experiences, both in the Division III courtroom, and then we've planted a few surprises around the building that we're not going to share because we hope people come and see them in
You
person.
have to see them for yourself.
You have to see them for yourself. And one of the exhibits, there are several new ones, but one that we're very excited about is called 50% of the Story, Women Expressing Creativity. And Jen, believe it or not, there has never been a permanent exhibit solely dedicated to women's art in Colorado.
In the state of Colorado?
In the state of Colorado.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in Colorado Springs. Wow.
It's a game changer.
Why not, right?
So what we've done...
So you've got a lot to tell. You have a lot
We
of
have
stories to tell.
So many stories to tell. We decided to push even a little further, to do something really unique in that we have purchased about 60 works of contemporary art. Those works will be going into our permanent collection. We know that there is this abundance of creativity going on right now in Colorado Springs. It is a place of artistic expression. There's a lot of excitement around the arts. So we brought in 60 contemporary artists, and we're putting them into conversation with over 50 historic works of art and artifacts from our collection. So what this means is there'll be new art, there'll be historic works of art created by women that we've been collecting art since we became a collecting institution in 1896. In fact, our fourth artifact that we collected was a work of art. So we have a really fine collection of regionalist art. So the contemporary art, historic works of art, and then we go one step further. Women have always been artists. They've always been artistic, and they've always been creative, even when they couldn't get formal gallery representation or training.
Give some examples, Leah.
Some examples.
Yes.
I love it. So how about a beautiful hat and mitten set created by a mother to give to their child? This is something utilitarian, but they went above and beyond. They created something beautiful. How about a handmade quilt?
Right.
How
The
about
embroidery.
a weaving,
Right.
embroidery, hand-painted china? All of these things demonstrate women's artistic creativity. So the gallery is literally filled with objects and artwork. It is a vibrant space that I think is going to resonate with so many folks. We want to challenge our visitors. What do you do artistically? Everyone has some creativity or artistic talent. What do you do to be artistic, and how do you express your story through artwork? So when people come into the gallery, they're going to see almost an explosion of artwork on the walls and in cases. It's a gallery that folks are going to have to come to again and again and again.
And also really makes you thoughtful about how far we've come in terms of recognizing that creativity, right? And allowing these women to become artists and show their work.
Absolutely. There is a startling statistic that in museums across the United States, 92% of all art in museums was created by men.
Right now.
Which means less than 8% or less was created by women right now in 2024.
Okay, so we maybe haven't come as far
So
as I'm saying.
We're catching up. But,
Right. Slowly but surely. Right. But it is one of those great things to read those things and know those things so you can go out into the world and advocate.
And our community, we live in this profoundly beautiful place. Artists have always been drawn to the Pikes Peak region. And we just want to show off the talent that we've had historically and that we have right now.
Right now.
So that's one gallery. But we're interested in attracting families, people of all ages, people with all interests and backgrounds. So we have a brand new children's exhibit. It's called Camping in the Rockies. And it's just a fun play space for kids to...
And very interactive.
Absolutely, 100% interactive. Maybe
so
for parents
fun.
to get a break and kids to have fun inside the museum, because everyone belongs at the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum. And then up in our renovated Division III courtroom, we've decided just to have a little fun. We are opening up our collection storage and putting an exhibit together that's called Accessorize It. It is going to be filled with hats and belts and shoes and jewelry and pipes and you name it, anything that's an accessory. It is going to be just an opportunity for the public to see our collections and see what we've collected over the past. And hopefully they'll also be inspired to maybe perhaps want to donate their own materials and see themselves in the museum. So that gallery is going to be filled to the rim with collection objects and just a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so exciting. And that's just a couple things. So I hope people will go check it out. For people that don't realize that the museum is free, it is. Of course, they always accept donations and would be very grateful for yours. But it's a wonderful space. Like Leah said, you can go back again and again, which is wonderful, a wonderful opportunity that we're able to give people in Colorado Springs and visitors. So the other thing I want to talk about is the party you're going to throw on July 13th to celebrate. So if people want to be there on the day it opens, there's going to be a lot of fun, right? In fact, you're calling it Family Fun.
It is Family Fun Day, and it's the place to be.
Okay.
Saturday, July 13th from 10 to 3.
Okay.
We will have artist demonstrations, hands-on activities and crafts for kids. We'll have food trucks and music, face painting. It's a giant welcome back to the public. We miss the public in our building. And so we're really excited to see families and folks come out on the 13th. They can make reservations online at cspm.org just to let us know how many folks are coming, because did I mention there'll be cake?
Oh, so we want to have enough cake for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's good. That's important. And I know you all have had a temporary space during this time. And Matt, you and I talked at the beginning of this project about how important that was to you to keep something open for the public. Looking back, are you grateful you made that decision, and how did that go?
Yeah, we really made a commitment to continuing our public engagement during the closure and all of the disruption that happened. We were able to get a space right next door in the Plaza of the Rockies, and brand new exhibits that we placed in there for the public to see. I think it served that purpose. We did have people come through. People sometimes had a hard time getting from our door across the lawn to the annex space.
Right.
So we didn't have as many people as we maybe dreamed we would have, but probably what we realistically expected.
And of course, you can't accommodate what you're normally used to. So
and we heard a lot about, oh, this is it, for people who haven't been to the museum before.
Right.
So it's really important that people come back to the building, not only to experience the cool, which we're all enjoying.
The literal cool.
Yes.
But also to see the newly rehabilitated spaces.
Right. And it's just got to feel good that you can finally accommodate the numbers that you're used to.
We've really missed having the public in the building. I mean, the construction guys are great and all, but the
it's time for him to go.
Yes,
it's time for him to say goodbye, and I'm sure they're excited to be wrapping up too. Yeah, this is really good. So tell me a little bit about, before we wrap up, I want to talk about how this project fits in kind of the grand scheme of things for the museum. Obviously, we're sort of calling this a milestone, or I think I did, and because it is such a large large, important project for you. Where does it fit in your vision and the team's vision and the city's vision for the museum?
Good question. We are at the end of a 10-year strategic plan that we called Vision 2023, so we're 1 year beyond that,
Okay.
In which we were really focusing on securing our financial structure, to engaging more of the public, and doing a better job to take care of what we have. And so really this is the capstone of that 10-year project. And I would say it's the largest project that's happened in that building since at least the 70s and maybe since 1903. But really what this is about is making sure we are protecting our history and telling the public about the history and engaging them in the story of our fascinating community. During this 10 years, we reached milestones of visitation, over 100,000 visitors in a year. We've reached milestones of reaccreditation by the American Association of Museums, and we've reached other milestones, and this really caps that off. So we will begin working almost on the day after.
Give yourselves a couple days, but then
on our new strategic plan.
Yes.
But I can tell you now what it will be is continuing with the trajectory that we've been on, which is making sure people know this history, can appreciate this history, and using that to help us figure out where we're going into the future. And so we are very passionate about using artifacts to explore our past, and reaching out to residents and visitors of the Pikes Peak region. And so we're really, really excited for the end of construction and then moving on into the future.
I like how you always mention that it's not just interesting, it's useful.
Yeah.
For us as we move forward. And it really is. I think on your website, you say ignite your curiosity, which is a great way to put it, because sometimes, at least personally, when I go into the museum, I don't even really know what am I looking for? What am I interested in? Yeah. It's almost like sometimes the artifacts or the stories tell you that. Oh, this is drawing me in. I don't know why, or maybe I do know why I'm gravitating toward this exhibit or toward this artifact. But it sort of just happens naturally when you're in there, and you are a little bit surprised, or at least I am sometimes, about what I am curious about versus what I thought I would be curious about. So that's the fun part.
A lot of museums are linear.
Right.
You walk into an exhibit and you're kind of forced through a linear exhibit process.
Certain way, yes.
And we don't do that. And the building doesn't really work that way. So we do want people to ignite their curiosity, inspire discovery. That's the catchphrase. And so it's really about people finding themselves in the exhibits that we provide. They are reflected in what the stories that we tell and the artifacts that we preserve.
And I know, Leah, you make an effort to do that.
We do. We often use the mirror as metaphor. We hope to be a mirror to our community. So if you've lived here 50 years, 5 years, or you just moved here 5 months ago, you see a bit of your story reflected back to you. And so we try to create a variety of different experiences to engage people with different backgrounds, different interests. And we believe that the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum has something for everyone. And we're not done. We have a lot more work to do, but we're passionate about centering storytelling. If you tell someone a good story, you hook them, you get them interested in history. And that's what we try to do through our exhibits and our artifacts and our experiences.
You do it. You definitely do it. And not only that, but you just leave with such a feeling of pride, I think, of, in our history and in living here or visiting here, even if you're just visiting here. And then, trust me, you're probably going to want to live here. Dang it. It's a problem we have right now. The secret's out. So thank you both for being here and always sharing your wonderful thoughts and sharing your talents with the city. CSPM.org is the website, and it's a great resource. It's just wonderful. You can find details about the Family Fun Day, great photos of the restoration process, which is kind of fun to follow along what's been happening, because they literally took the lid off the museum and were lowering things in and out, and it's just fun to see all that progress, along with all the events that you have on your calendar, historical resources. It's a great place to visit if we piqued your interest with this podcast. So
I want to thank you, Jen, and thanks to your team to help document this story throughout the project.
Oh, it's been fun. Yeah, we're excited to put together some more videos to show everybody what it looked like, and now it's all back together again and ready to go. So thanks for joining us. Everybody go to the museum this summer, and thanks for listening to Behind the Springs.